So my name's Amber Kiason. I'm the advertising director at the Times News here in town. And thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with you today. I appreciate that. We really like to get out there and tell our story as the newspaper because I think there's a lot of misperceptions about newspapers in the marketplace today. We have a top-notch team of reporters that cover the news like nobody else does in the Magic Valley. I think a really great example of some reporting they've done recently is, this was 2 Sundays ago, talking about the effects of Chobani coming into our marketplace and how that's helping add jobs to the community, how it's helping across the board to help our market be a stronger place. So our newsroom really does a good job of diving in and getting the local story. But that's not what I do. I work on the advertising side, even though typically when I go out and I tell people, hey, I work for the Times News, they say, oh, do you write? I don't write, I work in advertising. Selling advertising is incredibly important to the newspaper because it's what makes our mission possible, which is being the #1 source of news and information in the area and providing that watchdog journalism and that record of what's going on in our area. But it's also really important because we get to work with local businesses that are in our area each and every day. We help them to be successful. So when somebody advertises with us, they tap into that huge audience of people that are reading the paper. They have an opportunity to tell people about their business, and at the end of the day, what I do, what my team does, is we make cash registers right. But in order to do that, we first have to get people past whatever misconception they have out there about newspapers. And, sorry. And I think the biggest challenge that we have is, aren't newspapers dead? That's something that we hear a lot. Do people still read the newspaper? That's a question we get a ton. And if you think about it from the business owner's perspective, it used to be easy. There was just newspapers, and then radio came along. So there was just radio and there was just newspapers. And then network TV came along, but there was only a couple stations that you could choose from, or you're doing the phone book. So business owners out there, and I understand many of you are taking this course because you're going to own your own business or you're an entrepreneur, and you want to use that business knowledge. So what you have to decide is, I only have so much money that I can spend to market my business. Where am I going to spend it, and how is it going to be effective? So with the advent of TV and with radio, it became a little bit more challenging. But really in the last 10 years ago, it became a whole lot more difficult for the average business owner. Because, what about DVRs? I wanted to be on TV, but what about cable? Which station? There's 300 stations to choose from. Which station is my ad going to be on? I like radio, but what about Sirius? What about all these ad avoidance technologies that are out there? Online, I know I should be doing something online, but what is it? What should I be doing online? And that's really what we have to do working with our local customers, is first get past that fear of where should I spend my money, and educate people on who is our audience, who is it that we have available to reach, and then how do we put an ad together that's going to deliver the results that you need. And I thought this was really interesting. In 2002, there was a study that was done. The average consumer saw about 247 ad messages in a typical day. So the vast majority of the ad messages that you see, you're not going to remember them. 7 years later, they did the same test again, and they measured how many ad messages does somebody see. It was over 3,000. So how do you make that decision as a local business owner about where am I going to spend my money? And ultimately, it's about the right message first. Because if you think about all those ads that you see and the ones you forget versus the ones you remember, it has to have the right message. It has to be targeted to the right person. And it has to be the right timing too. Getting that message when they're ready to buy. So for the Times News, our market area isn't just Twin Falls. We actually reach across the southern Idaho area. So the mini cache area, heavy readership in that over there. Jerome, Buell, Gooding, even Haley and Ketchum. So, we have this really huge audience of people that we are the daily newspaper that they turn to and that they read on a daily basis. Now, we talk about the 191,000. Really, though, what the average business owner cares about is people with money to spend. So you're talking about the adults, that 136,000 people within our Southern Idaho area. How do I get some of those customers to come in and shop with me? And so how do you do that? The newspaper, as much as you might hear that newspaper circulation is declining or that readership isn't what it used to be or everybody's online, we still have a tremendous number of people that are turning to our printed edition each and every day. So it's still a really great opportunity for a local business to put their message out there in a quick and effective manner. So you're going to be reaching just any day, today, any weekday, about 44,691 is what we average people, adults, people with money to spend that have turned to our paper. And that's an opportunity to see your ad as a business owner on those pages as well. Sunday is even higher. We have over 58,000 people who turn to us on Sunday. Now, our overall audience, though, is more than just our printed edition. We also have online our unique visitors, which is how many different devices come and visit us each day. That could be you on your phone, with me on this desktop computer. It could be somebody else on their iPad. We have over 14,000 unique devices that come and read our news every single day just online. So for our businesses that we work with, that's another opportunity for us to get their ad message, something about their business, in front of those local eyeballs that have money to spend. Now, total pages of content that are read online, it's over 1.5 million page views of content that are consumed on our website every single month. So our business model is changing, but we've really embraced what's going on online because we see that as a huge opportunity, for our advertisers and then for us as well. In mobile, over 500,000 of those page views that we get on a month, those are from our mobile website. So that's somebody who's using their iPad or using their phone. So we've continued to make sure that breaking news is a big focus so that we keep people coming back throughout the day.
One of the things that I like best about news these days and about your newspaper is it's no longer, this is today because we're done printing. It can change, and your site changes. And your newspaper is a support of your site and vice versa. So they all interconnect, just like we've talked about using your marketing to interconnect. They're using theirs as a publishable medium to interconnect.
Yeah, a great example. We just got a brand new publisher, so we wanted to announce this. And we had the entire building and, the announcement of the new publisher, this is going to be our new boss. And so the question is, well, can we go ahead and break this news to the community? Can we get it in tomorrow's newspaper? And one of the people on our editorial team said, tomorrow, let's do a quick interview right now. Let's do a breaking news update on our website. Within 30 minutes, thousands of people know that we have a new publisher. So that's our own news, but when breaking news happens, they definitely do cover it quickly. This marketing research I really like, especially when I go out and talk with businesses, because just because you advertise with a publication that has a huge audience doesn't mean that you're doing it effectively, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get results. And one of the key ways that you can help yourself get results is to be frequent. And we know that there's some people that read the paper today, they might not have time to read it tomorrow. They're going to read it again the day after. So we know that our audience, people come to us depending on what's going on in their busy lives at different times. So the more that you advertise and the more consistent you are, the more opportunity you have to reach more people. And we also know that we have our print product, we have our web product, and then we have a group of people that some days they read us online, some days they read us in print, so they consume both. And then we even have this group of people that, as someone who works in advertising I love, which are the people that they read us for the ads. So if you, we do this through telephone market surveys that our company does, and they ask people, did you read the paper today? Did you read it last week? Did you read it last Sunday? Did you go to the newspaper website today, last week, last Sunday? They ask all those questions. But then they also say, if you're someone who says, I did not read, they said, did you use the newspaper for anything? And a lot of those people say, oh yeah, I use the newspaper. Actually, I look at the ads every Sunday. So we have people that maybe don't, they don't identify themselves with being a newspaper reader, but they do identify themselves as being a shopper and needing that content. And that's why, I mean, I brought a Sunday newspaper, this is from 2 weeks ago, and you know, if you kind of go through, you know, why is Fred Meyer's spending such a huge portion of their marketing budget to be in the Sunday newspaper every single week? You know, why does Walgreens do that? Why do these big companies with a lot of marketing know-how choose to spend their money every single week in the newspaper? And it's because we have those shoppers and people that are specifically looking for advertising and information. So if you look, you add it all up, total reach, 82.3% of adults come to us at least once during a week. Maybe it was 1 day, maybe it was 7 days, maybe it was in print, maybe it was online. So we really do have that large audience that they can tap into. And then, you know, it's interesting to look at the age demographics too, so we're happy to share that also. You know, how you consume us is sometimes different depending on what generation you're a part of. So someone who's 60 plus, 62% of adults 60 plus in our market are print only. They're just gonna read it in print. Only 2.5% say I'm web only, I only read it online. And an additional 8.9% say some days it's print, some days it's online. And about 15% of them say, I don't read, but I look at the ads. So that's what that whole roll-up is saying. Versus if you're talking about that 18 to 29, you're gonna have a lower percentage that's reaching just in print, but at 31.5%. But you're gonna get much higher when you look at the print plus web. Some days I read in print, sometimes I read online only. Or the I use the newspaper. Hey, I'm a busy mom, I don't have time to read, but I'm the kind of family purchase manager for my whole family, and I look at the ads. You know, that's kind of that 22.9%. So we're really proud of what we've been able to do in the marketplace as far as holding audience, and it's all about audience when you're selling advertising. Any questions on that? Make sense?
Yeah, let's ask a quick question. How many of you check out online? How many of you subscribe? I have parents in their 70s. I subscribe. How many of you read the newspaper? How many of you use the newspaper, like use ads? Okay.
Yeah. So everyone's a little different.
Yeah.
Another stat that we like to share with our advertisers too is how many people, because they say that's great that people are reading our newspaper, but are they going to see my ad and are they going to respond to my ad? And this is nationwide information. 79% of American adults have taken action directly as a result of seeing a newspaper ad. And here's kind of a breakdown of how they've done it. 54% said I clicked a coupon out and I went and I shopped. Someone else, 46% said I bought something. I saw something in the newspaper, I went out and I bought it. 45% said they visited a retail store or showroom directly as a result of seeing that newspaper ad. 37% said that they saw something in the newspaper and they went to that customer's website to learn more based on seeing that ad. 26% have searched online for information, and 20% have tried something brand new for the first time that they wouldn't have tried if they hadn't seen that ad. So we know that we have the audience, we know that people will respond to the ad if there's the right message, but then that next step is making sure that the messaging is correct. And you kind of, what is a brand? As when you create your own local business, you have to create your niche, you have to create your brand in order for people to choose you versus your competition. So a brand isn't tape, it's not a person, it's not a price. But Scotch Tape is a brand. They've built a brand for themselves. They put money behind what they're doing in order to build that. Donald Trump, he's more than a person, he's a brand. You think high-end, you think luxury. Walmart is a price. It's low prices, but they've built that brand for themselves so that people know when you say Walmart, you know what that means. And you can do that with a local business too. So first you have to figure out what is your brand going to be that you're promoting, and then you have to keep in mind consistency is key. And one of the things that we talk about with our sales reps a lot is the thin market concept. And you can't just advertise the first month that you're in business and expect that people are going to remember you when they're in the market to buy. And I'll use my focus group of myself. I'm in the market for a car right now. I've recently had a child. The Mustang's not so practical anymore. I'm going to need to sell it. I'm going to buy a new car. There have been ads 2 years leading up to now. I've lived in this market. I haven't been in the market for a car. So every single one of those car ads that are in our paper were totally lost on me. But as soon as that switched and now I'm in the market for a car, I have cars on my brain all the time. I'm driving down the street and all of a sudden I notice what people drive. Every time I see an ad that has a car in it, I stop and I look at it and I want to see what's out there. So you have to keep your ad message out there consistently over time in order to make sure that as people come in and out of the market for whatever it is that you're selling, that you don't miss that opportunity and they choose to shop with your competition because they're the one that's out there front and center. So, how do you make yourself stand out? What do you think the number one thing is when I go talk to local businesses and I say, what makes you different from your competition? What do they all say? Customer service, which is great, except that every single one of their competitors have told me the exact same thing. They said, we're good at customer service. So when you're putting together your business plan and deciding what you're going to put in your newspaper ad, because I'm confident you're all going to buy newspaper ads, you really have to figure out what is it that I'm going to hang my hat on. So there's really kind of 3 different things that you can be different with. One of them is a unique product or service. You offer something that nobody else does. So then it's easy to be able to go and say, hey, choose me. I have something that nobody else does. So that's one angle. But I think the boat that a lot of local businesses are in is they're not the only carpet cleaner in town. They're not the only person that sells whatever it is that they sell. They do have competitors, so then they're going to have to do something else other than I offer this product and service. All right, so then you can hang your hat on price maybe, but the problem with price is, it's got to be low price. You can't say, come shop with me, I have the highest price in town. And then, you have to make sure that you really are the lowest price if you're putting price out there. Sometimes if you are working in a really competitive market and other people are advertising price too, sometimes there can be no end in sight and you're always lowering your price to match the competitor's price, and that can be difficult. And I used Walmart earlier as a branding example. We hear from people all the time, people should come shop with me instead of with Walmart. I can beat their price every day of the week. But why don't they come shop with you instead of Walmart? Because nobody knows it. So if you do decide that price is what you're going to hang your hat on, you have to make sure that you get that message out there to the marketplace in a way that if they don't come into your doors, they're never going to know that you have that great price. And then a word that we like much better than customer service, because everybody thinks it's great at their own business, is experience. So if you don't have that unique product or service, your price isn't necessarily going to be lower than everyone else, or you don't want to go down that road. You have to figure out how are your customers going to have a different experience with you than they have with one of your competitors. And I probably should have done a different order here. Oops. I'm missing one slide. The slide that I didn't bring, that I probably should have, talks about pizza. And pizza does a really good job of, everybody sells pizza, but they all have their own unique brand, the ones that are successful. And like for instance, Little Caesars. Why would you go to Little Caesars? $5. They're their price. They've gone after price. Why would you go to Domino's?
Because you don't know any better.
Yeah, that's a trick question. They used to hang their hat on, we'll deliver in 30 minutes. But then I think their reputation kind of became, we deliver pizza that tastes like cardboard in 30 minutes. So now they're kind of trying to rebrand themselves and
Their
say,
pizza is tasting better.
they have a new recipe, so they're kind of backpedaling. So people are a little confused about Domino's right now. What about Papa Murphy's?
It's really good. Everything's fresh. That's what they hang there.
And you take it home, you bake it yourself. So pick it up now, pick it up now and you can bake it later.
That's a good idea for dinner.
Yeah. So all of these different pizza places are basically, even our own local Gertie's Pizza. It's all you can eat. It's an experience. Bring the whole family. They'll walk around with the pizza. They'll bring it to you. They've entered a marketplace where we have these big national successful campaigns or companies, but they've figured out how to make their own unique niche so that they can be successful. So that's really what you have to think through when you're putting your business plan together is how am I going to stand out, how am I going to be different. And then when it gets to the point where you're ready to put an ad together, don't make the mistake that a lot of people do with newspaper ads, which is I'm paying for every inch of this ad and I'm going to jam as much information into it as humanly possible, because then you have somebody that might pass by your ad. Consumers, they don't want to work for the advertising. They want it to be easy. They want to know what it says right away. Remember they're seeing 3,000 plus ad messages in a single day. If you're that in a cluttered ad, they're going to skip over and look at the next one. So here's an example. Lots of text. I'm sure they have great things to say, but hypnosis can help with addiction. So then you read a little bit further, something about Reader's Digest and how great the product is. But you're probably going to skip over it. So here's a little bit of a rework because it's the right message at the right time to the right customer. What does that mean, that addictions thing? Well, they're going after people who want to quit smoking. So they change that headline and say, smokers quit painlessly with hypnosis. They have a picture of those cigarettes, to catch the eye of someone who might be a smoker and might be thinking about that. So they tweak the ad a little bit to make it more effective. But what they probably should have done is something more like what this advertiser did, which is instead focusing on that benefit to the end consumer, which is freedom from tobacco, and then putting their information about their business further on down in the ad. So, really thinking about what's in it for a customer to come shop with me, and making sure that any advertising that you do, you get that message across quickly to get them to stop and look at your ad and to give you that purchase consideration. So here's another example. You may or may not know famous whatever Thanksgiving buffet, but if you're quickly going through the newspaper, you might not even know that this is a restaurant. Even if you're hungry, you might have otherwise stopped and thought about this business. But if instead of trying to say everything in their ad, they picked one or two things to hang their hat on, cleaned the ad up a little bit, they're more likely to get someone to stop and look at them and think of their brand. So that next time they're having that conversation of where do you want to eat tonight, they remember this business versus someone else's. So there's kind of my 2 cents on when you get your business together or when you put your advertising campaign together. Really think about where you're going to advertise, but think about the message too, and really make sure that you figure that out for yourself. And I did want to mention one other thing while I was here today is that we as a newspaper industry are really changing our business model when it comes to advertising. And so much of that has to do with everything that's going on online. So it really makes a lot of sense to go down to your local newspaper, meet with one of the sales consultants, tell them about your business as you're getting started, and really make sure that you know that everything that's available out there before you start making some decisions. For instance, we know we have the online news, but we can also do online display advertising to tap into that huge audience that we have on our website. But we also have an online deals program where you can buy discounted deals. And that's something that helps a lot of businesses get new customers to come in and try them. So, that's beyond just that newspaper advertising. And we even do offer website design. So if somebody's putting a website together, we can do all of the design and help them get their website going. And we do social media management too. So we have some customers that say, I want to do something with social media. Hey, it's just me running this business. I don't have time to do it all. And we have customers that we help with that as well. So we're always kind of, we really hang our hat on we know marketing. And we're always looking for other opportunities to help our customers out with their marketing. And so really going down and talking to your local newspaper and seeing what they have available, you might be surprised. Any questions?
Yes, I do. I want students to realize that newspaper advertising isn't cost prohibitive. What are some package prices that you can discuss?
That's actually what I was going to ask.
Yeah, how
That's
much
what
does
I
all
was
of this
gonna
cost? The nice thing about the newspaper is that we can put something together on most budgets. So, obviously if you're gonna be doing like what Target does and doing multiple page inserts that run every single week, that's gonna be a heavier budget. But if you wanted to come see us and have us help you put together a single sheet insert, front and back on glossy paper instead of the entire 54-page book, we really are looking at, about 6 to 8 cents per copy for full color glossy printing, both sides, and that includes graphic design, printing, and delivering it to people's doorsteps, and delivering it inside of a product that people have paid to receive, so they're gonna open it up, they're gonna see that ad message inside. So that's kind of like for a local business, something that's more of a grand opening type thing, a bigger pop. Now,
So let's,
6 to 8 cents a copy.
somebody have a calculator?
Yeah. If somebody wanted to hit all of our households, they're gonna be doing about 20,000 households.
So 6 cents times 20,000.
And if they wanted to do a smaller portion, like just Twin Falls proper, maybe they don't want to hit the outlying area, they're probably going to be more in the, 10, 12,000 range, depending on
So
what
you can
costs.
customize how you present your information and who gets it more specifically. So you can target your true demographic, which will save you money. You'll be reaching the people that you want to reach in a more broad spectrum. So what number did we end up with though for,
The 6 cents a page would be 52.80.
so for about $5,000 you'd be hitting full color everybody
It's
in.
actually 6 cents, so 0.06 times
Yeah, I got 1,200.
20,000, so $1,200. Yeah.
Okay.
1,200 for 20,000 copies.
Okay. So you'd be at about 5,000 if you just did Twin Falls. Now, what if they did a black ink on 60-pound bond?
Yeah, that's the funny thing. We print so much full color glossy inserts for people that it's actually less expensive for us to do the full color glossy
Oh,
than
okay.
it is to do. So sometimes we have people that will want like, can I have neon paper with black ink? And it ends up being more expensive or about the same cost because we just don't
Okay.
buy as much of that paper. And we get buying discounts for what we buy the most frequently.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny. But we also have advertisers, and I think Babel's Cleaners is a really good example that we have here in town. They're a smaller business. They've advertised with us for years, and they've built their business on a coupon that runs every Thursday. And they have a coupon every Thursday. You bring that ad in that Thursday, you get 20% off your dry cleaning. And I know I take my dry cleaning there. There's always a line. They're slammed. Everybody has their coupons, and they, make sure that they're busy every single week by running that ad. And doing a small business card size ad like what they do, you might be talking more like the $50 a week range. So there definitely are different options depending on, now that's a black and white ad and it's a small ad. And the only reason it works being that small is because the offer's good and there's nobody else offering that same offer. So
And you can count on it being there.
exactly. Consistency.
You know
yeah.
that comes, it's just like in Craft World, when they offer their 50%, you always know that there will be a 50% coupon at Craft World every Sunday, especially during Christmas. And there will always be an Albertsons ad on Wednesdays and a Fred Meyer ad. There are some things that you can count on, and as a business owner, you want people to start counting on what you're going to be presenting. So that's perfect. Can you give us some examples of other size ads and what they might run?
Yeah, and it all just depends on, the customer's contract with us. If someone who commits to run for a whole year, we give them a lower rate.
And do you expect payment up front for that full year?
It depends on the customer. If you've advertised with us for a while and you've established credit with us, we can bill you monthly. Otherwise, most customers that are brand new pay in advance by the month. So they don't have to pay for the whole year.
Nice.
But
Okay.
they pay each month as they go. We can change ad copy. Our open rate, what we say, the rate for just placing a one-time ad is about $22 an inch. So you can do, and that's one column across the bottom, 1 inch up the side, but you can make that as big or as small as you want. But most of our customers are more in the $15 range because they do sign a contract with us and they get a better rate. And that's, so that could be a 10-inch ad, it could be a full-page ad, and it all kind of varies from there. So we're really flexible. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Typically what my sales reps will do is meet with somebody, figure out what they're trying to accomplish, and then put together a plan from there.
So one of the things in their plans that they have an option of doing is including print advertising. And they have to include a budget for what they're going to be doing. So if they were to plan for 3 months, and I know it's not exact 3 inches by 4 inches, but if they had an ad approximately 3 inches by 4 inches for 3 months, can you give us a ballpark, assuming it's black only, not running on Sunday, because that does cost more? Can you give us an idea, ballpark, of what that would run?
I'll show just a sample here.
Perfect.
This is what we call a 2-column by 3-inch ad. So we're charging for 6 inches of space. Now, if you actually measure it, a column is longer across the bottom than an inch. So you're getting.
Can you turn this way for just a second?
So
Oops, I lost you.
2-column by
There we
3-inch. So 6-inch ad. So let's say you were on a contract and you got down to about $15 an inch. So you would take your 6-inch ad spot, multiply that by your $15 an inch. I'm not going to do a ballpark of what each ad costs.
Okay, perfect. So, how about some questions about design or anything else that runs into your
How important, or do you have anything that tells you how much more likely your ad is to be viewed or acknowledged if it contains a coupon? Is that a huge thing?
Well, and it's kind of a trick question too because it depends on what the coupon says.
Okay.
Like for instance, 5% off. Most people aren't going to get really excited about 5% off.
Right.
But if you do a buy one get one free, you're going to get a much higher return rate. So it really varies depending on what you sell and what your offer is. And then it also has to do with what kind of a business niche you are and how many people are in the market for whatever it is that you're selling. So, if you're a restaurant and you put a good offer out there, you're going to get a ton of coupons back because everybody eats. Versus, if you're a medical spa and you're really only reaching most of your customers are women, 35 to 65, and the people who are with a higher disposable income, and then you might put a coupon out there and it's a really good offer, but you might get less response back just because you have that thinner market for what it is that